drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and a big warm welcome. Yes, it's the Bar Stewards Inquiry Sunday Sermon. This is the time and the place to be for laughter, fun and laughing at our dreadful sport. Well, the way it's been running anyway. Plenty to get through, as always, on this show. We've certainly had some good questions in and ploughed through the week's events that's taken place. So plenty to talk about. And joining me, as always, are my two favourite Bar Stewards. Absolute vile, the pair of them. John and Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, vile is right.
Yes, you vile pair.
Good, fuck them, fuck everyone. Well, fuck them all bar two and let those two fuck each other, that's what I say.
Indeed. We've got a good show. Let's first of all look at Saturday, John, and see if we dug anything interesting out. I mean, I didn't watch ITV, for example, on Saturday, but I did see several people complaining about the shit coverage. So I don't know, did you watch any of ITV Saturday?
I mean, no, not especially. I mean, as usual, he's on for a bit of background noise in the other room.
Yeah.
Sort of piping its way through to me. And that the only bit I did say was when they were giving the Champion Jockey Award out, and the cameraman had bruised A.P. McCoy as to who Harry Cobden was. And
Dear God.
Yeah, I don't think AP would give a fuck, wouldn't it, to be honest. I think AP's dead inside these days.
Yeah.
I just don't see him as a good pundit, do you? Someone that, take him and say Ruby Walsh, side by side.
Rocky.
Ruby's just on another level.
It's 18-0 to Ruby. It's not even our time.
I know. It really is. The gap in class is considerable. Anyway, we'll move on from that. But did you see on Friday on ITV, Chapman got Barry Hearn into an interview?
Yep.
Barry Hearn suggested what I've been saying for ages about taxing punters maybe out of the winning bets, maybe 2 or 3% to fund, in essence, the sport. Now, I was shocked because obviously it's something I've always advocated could work. It can't work now with the affordability of all that crap. The game's gone. But I was just saying, if this were possible, it would work in my view, because you then can distance yourself from big corporation.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least it's not fucking filthy. I mean, moral, like the day we've got now.
Yeah.
It's rotten to the absolute core of its very being.
Plus, as well, John, as we've said before, it's encouraging winners because, to be honest, Chris, you've never had a lucky up, but
No, never. But assuming I did, just imagine.
Right.
I bet you had a few lucky ups and discos in the late 80s.
I can see that.
You used to call them a lucky up then.
Is that what it was?
Or was it a licky up?
I just
must be a northern thing. With no idea. Half the population has no idea what you're on about.
That was a Cleveland game.
Outside toilets and flat caps and whippet racing, Chris.
Electricity is white magic, isn't it? That's what it is. The sky god's angry. It's raining.
Right. So going back to it, so you get a nice lucky up. Right? Say you do it in a shop.
Yeah.
And you've had £2 each way lucky 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Standard Saturday punter bet, and it all cops. You draw a couple of grand.
Yes.
Do you tip the shop staff? I would. I think.
Yeah, I think you would, wouldn't you? I mean, I suppose, I suppose the sort of the karmic balance of the universe. I think it's served if you slip them a couple of quid. Yeah, providing they've not been, massively offensive to you. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, John, would you tip?
Probably not.
Well, you give them £1 so they can buy their own fucking ticket, isn't it? Yeah, that's about it.
I know at the moment, to get paid, so without a load of bollocks, I know that there's people that are saying to shop staff, look, I don't want any hassle, I'll give you 50 quid not to shove me through all this rigmarole.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it works, isn't it? That's the world over. But It's absurd that you're going to have to bribe people to get what's your lawful right. It's ridiculous. It's like fucking South Africa, isn't it? You know what I mean? Well, culturally in South Africa, it's not a bribe; it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift in acknowledgement of a good service rendered. You might call it a bribe, but the fact is, it does seem to permeate all levels of society now, doesn't it?
Yeah, my mother and father-in-law were in South Africa last year. They said that while they were there, the pilot of the plane was walking down the street and he had his watch took off his wrist.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I took off at the elbow. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, God.
That's it's a fucking war zone there. I mean, it's I mean, Christ, never mind.
Apparently, you should never hire a car in Pakistan. Because the car hire firms have a deal with the police. If you hire a car, it's automatically assumed that you're fairly well to do and you've got a few quid. And the police have the registration numbers of the cars, and the first thing they do is pull you, chuck you in the cells, and see how much money they can get out of you.
All right, sweating for.
Jesus.
Oh, eh?
Whoa, we're lucky here then.
Yeah. For now.
Sunshine and rainbows, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, going back to old Barry Earn, I was surprised actually to see the kickback on Twitter saying, what a wanker Barry Earn is. I don't want him in sport and this, that and the other. I don't go on personalities here. I go on what he's actually done. So he's kept snooker going, which I think is an immense effort because I know like people are complaining that he's going to take snooker maybe to Saudi Arabia and things like that, but it's all about the dollar now. And I don't know. I don't agree with it, but on what he's done for the snooker itself as a sport, I think it's good. And I think darts, he's completely transformed from a pub sport at the lakeside that it's now selling out arenas.
Sport that takes place in a big pub.
Yeah, a giant pub.
A mega pub. Yeah, real big Weatherspoons, isn't it?
And all you got to do really is turn up and sing Curlo, Tory and Ya Tory, haven't you?
Yeah, dressed as Diane Abbott, wasn't it? Yeah.
I do think snooker, though, I watched a bit today, John. I think it's one of them sports, though. Is this where people really just pay for a ticket just to go and cough?
Yeah. It's fucking boring, though, snooker, I think. Oh, fucking, what a load of shit that is, I think. You might watch Dominoes. Watch some old boys play dominoes, I think.
I'd love to know what you actually think is interesting, Chris.
I don't like anything. Yeah, I mean, I literally don't like anything. That's it,
Anyway, so going back to Sandown then, John, on the Saturday, there's some horse action. Well, we'll come to Leicester first, because Neil Tolson asked a question regarding the ride on Al Mub here in the King Richard III Cup. I looked at this in detail for Neil. Neil's quite an astute punter anyway, and he knows the time of day. But I would say that the lot got it wrong, really, because the winner has recorded pretty even fractions. On the sectionals, they really got the tactics right on the front runner. Frederick Larson just managed to get it absolutely spot on. I think what was the problem with Kieran, though, he was sort of sat up, I think, too out in the saddle, a bit too long, John. He didn't really get stuck into it soon enough, if you know what I mean.
Well, he also has ring chain in the past. They gelded him. There was a tongue tie applied yesterday. I don't know if that was the first time tongue tie or not. So I get the feeling that was possibly applied to help the jockey. He wasn't ridden the horse for 2 years either. He might have ridden him at home, I don't know, but he hadn't ridden him on the track for 2 years. And it's the type of thing where you could say Agus instructing Fallon to hang on to him as long as possible because he wants him to finish his race off. It's his first race back. It's bad ground. I think there's reasons for mitigation there.
I agree with that. If I backed it, I'd be a little bit miffed.
If you trained that late, you wouldn't have wanted him to be the one to go chasing after that leader and giving everybody else a drag.
I think you're right. I think that's what he was actually hoping, that something else would tow him to it. Because like you say, that's the hardest thing to do, is to lead the chase.
And you know that you're giving him a hard race, aren't you? Yeah. And there's also the chance if you change your hands and go after the leader a bit, you're going to light him up.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But obviously, I know if you backed Almoby, you probably feel that you maybe should have won that. Great ride from the front from Fred Larson. Sandown, obviously the finale of the jump season. Never seems it, does it?
No.
That's like Frank Sinatra's comeback tour, isn't it? It just always seems to be on. Like in the following day, there's more kind of jump racing. It never ends, does it?
Like the fucking band on the Titanic, you can't get them to stop playing.
Yeah, you say when they're on the water. Yeah. It's true, though. It never ends, does it?
Thinking about it, I don't know if it's just timings or I don't know if this is always the case, but Punchestown, doesn't that sort of drag away from like the Guineas sort of build up, which we should be building up now?
Not in this house.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. The media are all still talking grade ones at Punchestown, and really, I think there should be a lot more focus on the Premier flat meeting. By which, of course, you can listen to the Bar Stewards this Thursday as we are doing a Guineas special covering the Guineas meeting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That'll probably be me, John, and either probably Quentin, Jack, or Nick, depending who can do it. So that's a show for Patreon users Thursday evening, and it will be free to air on Friday morning for the rest of you. That's something to look forward to. We'll build up the Guineas the right way, and we're hoping City of Troy, John, which I have heard some really, really good stuff from the Gallops people there, that they are not just pleased, they are beaming at City of Troy's work.
Magnus out there in just his vest, is he?
Yeah, string vest, bollocks
Lovely.
on knees, and it's sat on thigh, resting lovely.
Perfect. That's the kind of report we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Angst to the left. Everyone's thinking, which way does mine hang now? You know. Sandown time. We'll finally get through this Sandown card to see if there's anything worth saying. The big shock, I suppose, was the Oaksey chase, where a fantastic lady won that. Changing tactics. Popeye was quite pleased with the ride that Nico gave it. Is this just end of season rubbish form, though?
I don't know, really. Hitman's been shitman for God knows how long, hasn't he? The real whacker has turned into the real whack job.
Yeah.
He needs a rebuild, doesn't he? Completely.
Oh, he's done. I know people say, well, he probably shouldn't have ran after running at Gold Cup and could have done with roughing off.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing where these trainers, they have a good season, and then when it comes to, like what I was saying to you, the second album,
yeah,
the tricky second album, that's where it gets fucked up, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think for jumps trainers in particular, it's a lot harder than flat trainers, because say you've got like Jamie Snowden, for example, he's had a really good season.
Yeah.
Plenty of winners. People highlighting him as one outside at big Southwest lads. Snowden's sort of up there, just on cusp of becoming one of those, if you like. Problem with that is, like you've said about second album, if he's got horses that are going up like 14, 20 pounds in weights throughout a season, they start in next season off ridiculous ratings, and then they've got to find another 10, 12 pounds to win, in effect. That's why I think it's really hard for jump horses, because if they win easily, they don't have to get lumped up. You're soon struggling. So I've sympathy with a lot of sort of national trainers in that respect. Because
I think as well, if you've got, say, an average size yard, and you've maybe got 2 or 3 decent-ish long-distance chasers, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that they could be all right one season and the next season they're absolutely fed up with it and sour as hell.
Yeah.
You're all cheek-paced up then after that. And
gear up. What was the race? Sorry,
that was that race yesterday. Everything had gear except the winner, and that was a fucking mare, so you couldn't have a bet.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. So coming on to the celebration chase, John Bond did it well. El Fabiolo, as sort of like we mentioned on the show Friday, except Chris, terrible from Chris Gartner, tipping up Hitman, shit man, and then saying El Fabiolo will win. Chris, hang your head in shame. Only joking, mate. But that's not El Fabiolo's track, and I don't think El Fabiolo ran its race either, did you?
To be honest with you, I don't think maybe the front 3 ran their races, because, Boat Hill's only 3.25 off them. I know I said if I had a better back Boat Hill, but that was only because I thought the front 3 might be shit.
That's a fair point. Like you say, 8 lengths behind, and what's it rated? 158. 158. So yeah, front 3 have just ran a bit flat, really. But I think that's typical of this meeting at Sandown. I just genuinely think it's a long season for me as well. Would Willie Mullins have brought El Fabiolo to Sandown if it weren't for winning the Trainers' Championship? Or trying to win
put it this way: if that race had been after the Whitbread, he wouldn't have run it.
No,
he'd have took the fine.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point. So on to Willie. Wicked Willie winning the British National Hunt Trainers Championship from the 2 big lads down the southwest.
Just goes to show you can't be too skinny as a national hunt trainer, can you?
Yeah, the other two really should be doing some good food guides, as we'll come on to later in the show regarding Sandown this weekend. So obviously, Willie doing that, he's obviously the only trainer to do it from Ireland since Vincent O'Brien.
Who would have done it with a considerably smaller string.
Shall we put this into context then? Is this an amazing achievement, or is it just sort of like going to be potentially, I'm not saying par for the course, because he might
It's
not
the
be...
sort of achievement he ought to be doing on autopilot if he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
precisely.
If he wants to do it, he can shit the trainer's title every year.
Yeah. He might not be as arsed, but I mean, as Gavin Cromwell has proved this year, targeting British racing, it's less competitive. He's more than happy to send some of his over and collect some of our pots, because you're not taking on JP McManus plot jobs in the fire streams.
I think next year you'll probably get a lot more. I'd hesitate to call them second tier trainers because they're very, very good, but those trainers in Ireland that aren't Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott, I think you might find a lot more chance in their arm over here rather than taking them two on.
Well, some of our large pots, which
Yeah.
I'm amazed that everyone targets Cheltenham, because some of the pots on the national scene throughout the winter are just incredibly good. And we're getting like a decent handicap chase, you might get 7 or 8 runners. In Ireland, there's 22 runners racing for less money. And you've got to be like £10, £12 well in at least to even figure, because obviously they're all laying them out for things like this.
Whereas I was real badly handicapped and there for the take.
Yeah, it's like something that's won its last 3 races for Honeyball. It's gone from 118 to 137. Irish trainers, if you're listening, that's the tactic surely for next season, I would say. Come and take more of our money. Be like Dick Turpin. Come and do it.
There are no Irish trainers listening tonight. They'll all be at Willie's party, won't they?
I think.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
You'd think so. They like walking horses down streets and into pubs, don't they? And all sorts.
Peculiar, aren't they?
So Minella Kakuna won the Whitbread, and no surprise there, really. Am I right, John? The confident selection of Chris on the show, that ran well, I thought. It just didn't get home. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I thought he looked like winning at the pond fence.
Yeah.
And then when they straightened up, he didn't. So I just think he ran out of puff.
That's a fair comment. I think that's about it for Saturday. Nothing else really happened much to discuss, apart from maybe, John, the question that you posed on your Twitter thread today about Jack Enright. Are we being fair? Maybe being harsh on a young lad? I've said it on the show before that he's not very good, but...
Right, I've kidded on a bit about this, right? But I think it's very unfair just to sit there and say shit. Let's try and be a bit constructive about what he might be doing wrong.
He's fucking shit.
Well, I mean, this does get listened to, and it's going to get back to the kid. His shit just doesn't cut it, to be fair.
No.
Let's have a look at him and say what he might be doing wrong or whatever, you know? I mean, I don't think he got a lot wrong yesterday. I don't think the horse was good enough that he rode in the Richard III.
I'm going to blame some of the logic, because I don't think he's ready. That's just my opinion.
No.
It's unfair, because if you've still got like a footballer that plays in a youth team, for example, it's like putting the lad into first team action and he's not ready to face that level of competition at this moment in time. That's how I'd see it.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean to say he's no good. He's just not at the required standard at this point in his life.
No, I don't like beating young and because at the end of the day, it's just like you see as bullies. And,
yeah, big fat bullies. Yeah.
Big fat bully from up north.
Yeah, wearing shorts like Billy Bunter, yeah.
Keep at it, Jack, and don't listen to Dave Cross or Richard Perham.
I couldn't ride bikes either of them.
To be fair, that's a fucking good starting point for the kid.
Yeah.
Don't listen to people like that. Get some films out and watch some people that could fucking ride.
Yeah.
Is this it, John? This is why we're struggling for good jobs.
Standardisation of race riding, like, and
it's crap, isn't it?
When it's stifling any flair, natural talent, or anything, it's really frustrating when you see these kids coming through and.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if they're riding hard pullers and that, and you just see their hands getting higher and higher and higher. And you think, fucking hell, showing you all that, you know. It's just...
You'd be saying, like, in O'Sheen's case, like O'Sheen and James Doyle, for me, are probably the two standouts. And I'm including Buick. Buick isn't as good as James Doyle. I think
No, I agree with that.
that's my opinion. I don't think he is. This is the problem. To have two jockeys, like O'Sheen Murphy and James Doyle in previous vintage eras, wouldn't be in the top 5, would they?
No.
No.
So there we go. That's how we're struggling, I think. And whether it's because everyone's sort of, they're being taught and they're riding the same, or I don't know. It just, there's no like massive talent that you think, oh my God, you're just different class.
Because it gets stifled at source by these people that they're appointing as coaches. Pass on is what they did, and that we're talking about people that were very, very limited jockeys.
Yes, very much journeyman. I mean, yeah, and probably at the bottom end of journeyman, to be honest, both of them.
Right, so coming on to jockeys then. So, John, you ran something, a poll regarding Skidmark, Kieran Skidmark at Clarehaven. How long would he last?
Partially tongue in cheek, but
What were the results of that poll?
in wine there is truth, as they say.
Vino veritas, yes.
There were 160 votes cast, and the final results are as follows. And it was, when is the sabbatical coming? After the Derby meeting, polled 22.5%.
Yeah.
After Royal Ascot, polled 20%.
Yeah.
After Goodwood, polled 5.6%. And the winner, by a considerable margin, no sabbatical, riding like a boss, 51.9%.
A bit like Brexit, really.
Basically, the Skidmarks must be a massive family.
So 51.9% think that Skidmark will last beyond.
Yeah,
it's going to boss the Clarehaven job.
That's a better vote of confidence than Rishi Sunak would get.
I am quite surprised by that. I think, as you have pointed out, the cracks are already starting to appear in terms of big horses coming back.
I think so.
Like, who was on Lord North? Was it
Buick? And he rode that filly, didn't he, on Friday that won the maiden, beating the nutcase filly that Skidmark was on.
It's already feeling very much like Kingscote at the Barons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Only obviously on a far, far bigger scale, because Kingscote only got jocked off one decent horse, didn't he?
Well, yeah, a significant one at that. In terms of like the owners at Clarehaven.
Well, actually, he never got jocked off it because it never ever ran this.
No, it didn't. No, but even Ryan rode it in the own work, most of its own work.
Yeah. Couldn't ride it on the track. Genius.
Do you understand stable jockey? Why would you have unless you're Coolmore and you're a huge operation where Ryan has got to be on all the best chances? I don't understand why the rest are hardly bothering with stable jockeys, to be honest. It don't make any sense, because I agreed in the sort of Piggott, Carson, Corf and Every era, things like that, you'd want to snap up the services of these people because they're that good. For example, Judmont wanted Pat Edmund on theirs. Cawthon obviously tied to Cecil, ride everything that Cecil had. Carson were at Sheikh Hamden. Things like that. Piggott, obviously Vincent O'Brien, that operation. So I think in that way, that's different, because these riders are just legends. But in this day and age now, someone said to me, right, you're a big owner, here's your, 100 horses. Who are you booking as stable jockey? I would genuinely say no one. You try and get the best to ride them out and say you can have that ride if you get on with the horse, etc., etc. Some kind of arrangement like that. But I wouldn't put someone on, employ them as tied to every horse that you've got. Another thing as well, John, and you surely agree with this, there's certain jockeys can't suit every type of horse, as you've seen with Holly Doyle.
Exactly.
Why would you have a jockey that isn't necessarily going to be suited by that particular horse? Not every jockey can get the best out of them. Some horses like kid gloves, some horses like stronger handling.
This is it. And the era that you were harking back to there, those lads were more adaptable and could more or less get on anything, you know? I mean, case in point, Rebel Starkey always used to go on about a filly of Cecil's, I think it was called, Rusalka.
Yeah.
And she was reckoned to be a bit of a bitch, you know. And I think Piggott won 2 loop days or something like that with her at Goodwood. And Rebel Starkey said if she'd been a dog, she'd have wagged the tail when she got Piggott on the back.
Yeah.
That's like the difference, isn't it?
It is. It's a good point. And this is where maybe trainers could possibly be a bit more adaptive rather than booking the one that's always rides for the yard genuinely or whatever. Because I certainly think jockeys have got styles, and certain styles suit different types. Moving on, that absolute hideous Royal Ascot ad, John, Chris, that appeared this week. Someone personally, I think it was Mike Parsage, who's trying to visit every race course in UK and Ireland, including all the point courses, etc. So it's a nice project. He saw it and obviously posted the picture on Twitter. What is it all about, John? Can you explain what the image is?
Yeah, I think the best way to do this is to really give you a bit of an overview. Now, it's a poster, right? But there really should have been a soundtrack to this, and it should have gone something like 12 years a slave and I've seen a lot of strife. One day go home and get yourself a wife. Because you got some cunt in a garden or an allotment.
It was a plantation, I think, wasn't it?
He's dressed like one of the hangers-on who ride in carriages 4 and 5 in the royal procession. He's had a slave scrubbed and dressed to the nines while the rest of the field hands look on in a mixture of envy, disgust and bewilderment.
Massa.
That is your Ascot you.
It's Uncle Remus.
Yeah, that's your Ascot you. A wannabe plantation owner who in reality has an allotment in Peckham and has gone into debt to hire a suit for the week. And he's taken his black social worker with him because she's been such a help since Agnes walked out because she thought his beard made him look like a paedophile.
Yeah.
If Alistair Warwick doesn't get this pulled first thing tomorrow morning, he's another one sitting on his hands waiting for Armageddon.
Who signed this off and thought this is a good idea?
And Uncle Remus signed it off. I think it's dreadful, isn't it? It's got every cliche that you can imagine.
Honestly.
But it's indecipherable. I mean, you can't actually look at it and go, I hate the advert, but I know what they're trying to convey. You can look at that poster, and I'd urge anyone to actually look at it themselves independently. But you cannot discern or determine the message.
This is walk gone haywire to the extent that it's grievously insulting to minorities.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's incoherent, isn't it? I mean, what are they saying? What message are we meant to derive from that poster?
It means you too can scrub up and go on the arm of a paedophile to Ascot.
I see. Do you want to be in my gang?
Exactly.
Yeah. Certainly don't. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd love to know who has actually designed this.
Gary Glitter.
Ball carrier. That's the right question. I'd like to just get their response. Like say, oh, well, this is what I'm trying to get across or whatever.
The bloke in the top hat might as well have had a ball gag in his mouth.
Well, I mean, I don't think the equivalence between having beards and paedophilia has been proved, has it? I mean, I don't think that's a genuine causal link between.
It's a white beard, Chris. He just puts a Santa suit on when he's not going to Ascot.
Well, I've got a fucking white beard.
You've got a Santa suit, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I wear it every week. Thanks very much. It's special.
Eating donuts.
Yeah, eating Krispy Kremes though. The ones with the vanilla jam, the raspberry jam, with the old frosty. Fucking lovely that was.
You ought to see Chris's spelling to me, John, of the week on text. I says, "Are you on gear?"
He thought I was poked up.
It's something like for John Bonnet. He said, "Should I back John Bonnet and something else?" But should I back Jammer and something else?
Jammer and Knuckleback.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh, is it Muckyback and Baboon or something?"
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the jam.
That's just what you want it. And he's eating donuts.
It's sugar rush, isn't it? Many spelling.
It is. You just get crazy for 10 minutes and then go to sleep. Don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, rubbish poster. I think the point is, isn't it? It was just not very.
Absolutely, totally outrageous. Not a good look at all for Royal Ascot.
No,
not a good look for racing. I'm pretty certain that some more prominent journalists will take this apart.
Of course they will
during the week.
Of course they will. Like fuck.
Our lovely Lydia, John, this week. This is like something I have never seen before. She was going bananas, like more bananas than Herbie.
Well, she couldn't get any bananas. That's why.
I mean, I had
a fucking no, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a Ford Cortina when Ed Gasket went. There was steam coming out all over the place, and I likened it to that. She just went, "That's it. I've had enough of this."
Because there wasn't a salad on the menu or something.
She was there 2 days, wasn't she?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
golf club's not happy with these.
You'd sort of put up with it for the first day, wouldn't you, and throw gritted teeth, but then second day you've had enough, haven't you, of food shit.
Yeah.
No, she attacked Sandown for the punter experience. Apparently, they've stopped the racecourse bus. Blogger alluded to that. How disgraceful, stopping the racecourse bus.
You got out of jail there then, didn't she, if you'd have to get bus with Blogger?
There was no big video screen, I believe, on the Friday.
That's awful when that happens.
And obviously, Lydia then points to the food outlets, which basically offered just fried food only, with no kind of healthier options, etc., etc. Banks also chimed in and said 125 quid for a bottle of Verve. Clique.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Now that is horrendous. 77 at York for Ebor meeting, and obviously that's a premium meeting.
And that's toppy, but yeah.
Right. 125 notes for a bottle of Verve. I can get through 4 in a sitting on my own easy, right? So that's a
And 20 fish fingers as well, and a Caramac, box of Caramac.
So if I'm there with Lang afternoon, Lang don't drink like I do, and he's like, "That's a monkey just for me."
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
That's why I have a draft Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring your own soda stream.
Yeah. Asking you two about what's prompted Lydia to lose her shit. Is this a sign of some of the racing media bigwigs, or like people that have certainly more influence than we can chariot across the racing Twitter? Finally, that's it. Now I'm fucking done with this. Is it that?
I think the consensus was that it was all right before. So I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't say she sort of grinned and bore it. She like stepped up and outed them the minute it's gone to shit.
But I mean, I can see what her point, but it's a bit like saying being on the Titanic and saying, "Oh, that fucking handrail needs repainting." The whole ship's going down. It doesn't matter whether you get big screens or whether you can have fucking quinoa salad or fish and chips. It's all fucked.
All contributory factors, though, aren't they? You know what I mean?
It's finished. It's done. It's in flames.
This is the reasons why the ship's going down, Chris. This is hold on 1, 2, 3, and 4, isn't it? The grubs, the strains, the fucking panic, whatever,
Don't ring or speak to Chris if you're like in trouble, like with your mental health.
Yeah, finished, done. Fuck it. Yeah, just fucking do it, man. Yeah,
it's
catch
fucked.
That bus. Anyway, yes, quite.
My take on it is that either someone's upset.
The fucking chef.
Chef hadn't washed his hands, I think. Yeah, it's a big day.
Well, I mean, I've not seen her this upset since Steve Mellish. She's absolutely gone.
But what a thing to go mad about. I mean, okay, people, yes, it's laudable, but fucking other things to get steamed up about to use her platform. Run about with fucking fish and chips. I mean, everyone knows racecourse catering is appalling value. This is not a new take.
We don't took notice. We think it's fucking smashing.
There you go. See? Well, down south, Sandown in particular, has always been rubbish, always been massively overpriced. Is that right? No, of course it isn't. But,
it's people like you, Chris, that have been running catering companies and thinking, right, how can we shaft these?
Sandown used to be in the running for Racecourse of the Year every year, didn't it? It was like York and Sandown used to alternate, really.
Yeah, less cheese in that fucking sarnie, they won't know.
Whereas look at the lovely Charlotte Russell, go racing in Yorkshire.
Yes.
She makes sure that racecourses get good food outlets coming there, the good pizza company, wood-fired, all that shit. Sandown obviously going down the nick because with Banks moaning as well.
A bad sign, isn't it? He'll pay a lot of grand for a bottle of Coke, wouldn't he?
Actually, he wouldn't. He's tighter than Gansler, wouldn't he?
Paint,
yeah. He said he'd buy us a drink last year. And
if the poor son's had to pay 125 for a bottle of Verve, we'll have to get him one at the empty.
Obviously, Lydia, I have full of admiration for in terms of. I'm not saying that she couldn't have done more, by the way, because she could. But the problem is, as we know, within reason, you are under certain constraints.
Yes, sure.
It is what it is. We've talked about this before, like about journalists doing more, and I think Lydia does probably more than anyone out there just about in terms of getting it across to people. I think Matt Chapman's had enough.
Plenty of times when Lydia's trying to get things across as well, let's not forget, she's had the door slammed in her face, being ostracised in this game.
Yeah.
I think that needs taking into account as well. She's well prepared to put her head above the parapet on several occasions and almost had it shot off thanks to the insular pricks in this game.
A kind of agree with what you said there, John. It is what it is. Maybe we'll get Lydia on the show now these days because
Probably not now.
oh no, I don't think we've said anything bad. It is what it is. Lydia certainly respects in some ways what we do in highlighting a lot of the bullshit that goes off that no one else can talk about. I think whilst back in the day she wouldn't have come on.
No.
Because obviously we're uncouth.
Yeah, grossly offensive content.
But I think in this day and age, if there was a promise of a half-serious debate or discussion, I think she'd come on. But then again, our Sunday sermon listeners want shit, don't they, really?
They want blood. They want the circus. They want the Colosseum, don't they?
They actually do.
These visits to the lunatic asylum to laugh at the idiots. Yeah.
So before we get to question time and funnies, 2 or 3 of you actually mentioned Tony Calvin, recent events, etc. And it's kind of weird. From my perspective, I find it odd because Tony was, I thought, excellent on the... Is it Weighed In, John?
Summary show, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he's really good on things like that. And some of you have said it because obviously some of you want him to appear on our show to chew the fat, etc. Because obviously Tony doesn't pull punches. And I think that was his strength. I don't know why he's going down the tipping route. I don't particularly think it's his strength, but that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Someone says, would he be willing to come on the show? Do you think? I don't think he likes me. That's the problem. Probably rightly so, because I've given him plenty of grief.
It's a large group of people who are a part of that club, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's over the internet and not face to face. It's stopping giving you a fucking good clattering.
The man is welcome to come on if he wants to.
Yes, of course.
I don't think he will, John. Is that fair?
I'm pretty certain he wouldn't want to.
No.
As I say, I personally think the Betfair podcast will be a lot poorer without his input.
Do you speak to him much these days?
Yeah. Well, just on Twitter.
Have you got any inside knowledge on what happened there?
No, I didn't ask. I don't stuff like that as any of my business. If it was a close mate, obviously you ask, don't you? But anything else, if they want to tell you, they tell you. And...
So, chaps, if you want to see Calvin on the show, John's going to have to host it. That's the only way you'll get him on. So,
if you want to show him a hosting, you're sadly fucking.
Yes, quite.
I think that's the only way we get TC on this show. But look,
maybe get Lydia to host it.
Whatever's said in the past, I don't care. To me, it's all a bit of banter and fun and opinion. And I wish him well. I don't wish anything bad on him. But it's a case of, I think Tony's a sensitive man. That's my opinion. I think he's very, very sensitive. Like some of us are at time to time, regards to criticism. But that's where we are. Nearly question time, I think. Going through John's, your worst racecourse meal.
Jesus, it would be at Redcar. It would, I'm afraid. And it was this line of park thing, and it was so fucking dry, honest to God. I mean, it was one of them where you put it in your mouth and it removed all the moisture from your mouth. And then you put it in, and oh dear, I think I got 3 or 4 forkfuls down before I had to stop. Yeah, very bad.
It's funny that, because well, I'm going to go 2 from 2 then. Poor Redcar, you're local, John. And we've just been championing the food up north. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they had the owners in this like conference room in the back of the grandstand that was facing the cemetery.
That's brilliant.
Right? Not the action. This is where you went for your food as an owner. And I can remember this one day. It was a Saturday as well, so it was like not exactly a bad card or anything like that. There's some big trainers sending runners up, and I didn't see any of them in there. Right, they got this old Doris like serving chili out of this massive pot, like big massive pot of chili, right?
Yeah,
I think they made a bucket, like.
Yeah, ladling
and
it
this
out.
Dry white rice that was dry because it had probably been under like warmer for 2 hours, and
it was a 3-day meeting, like.
That is my worst ever. Chris, have you had a bad racecourse meal ever?
Never, because I'm part of the Adam Norman floss, but we'll take your own gear if you want to eat. I just think universally it's always overpriced. So I probably had a couple of indifferent meals, but nothing that stands out. You know, I think people tend to go into race courses, you know, who've got meals booked with low expectations, and I have never heard anybody really rave about a race course meal ever, actually. So yeah, nothing that stands out.
Right, okay, we'll move on to the next question, which is are stable tours worth a dry shite? I love John's wording. Right.
Yeah.
John, have you read something recently that's like boiled your piss?
Well, all of it, really.
Yeah.
when you work your way through them and read what they're saying about these horses, and then like cross-reference it with the performances on the track, it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah, total rubbish, isn't it? And if they knew something worth knowing, they wouldn't fucking tell you, would they?
I
That's
just
the thing.
don't get it, because it's not in their interest to tell you. It's not in the owner's interest
No.
to tell you. Why do it? And the Racing Post absolutely knocks your eye out with these bloody things at this time of year. There's 3 a week.
We hope he'll make up into a nice 3-year-old.
Yeah, well,
You could say that for absolutely everything.
The problem is, and I see the problem for these trainers in doing them, right? The owner will be watching, right? So the first thing I'd do, say like when I had horses with Brian Ellison, if they ever did a stable tour in, which they never did, obviously, I'd be looking at what Brian had said about mine. And the problem is, if you insult that horse or you just say, this fucker's no good, it's like you've just lost yourself how much a month in fees.
Here's a funny thing, right? I mean, there's been like a dozen stable tours since the start of the flat or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
There's not one trainer said of a horse, well, he's a right hot bastard. We can't get anybody to stop on his back for more than half a minute.
Yeah.
We don't know what the fuck we're going to do with him. He's not worth the cost of a bullet. Now, don't tell me that nobody has one of them in their yard.
Oh, no, there's not one.
No.
Not richly promising, aren't they?
Yeah. And naturally so. So they are a waste of time.
You drive yourself up the wall if you were putting all them notes in and sticking them in your tracker. You'd be in the fucking funny farm by Joan.
Yeah.
Genuinely, in my view, there are some shrewd judges as trainers, but a lot of trainers aren't shrewd. And we know this because when we find one that we like and we want to be on, but they're always fucking put in the wrong race or the wrong track or the wrong
shout out to Harriet Bethel at this point.
Go on, John, yeah.
Fantastic trainer. Heading to be one of the best in the north.
Yeah.
Anything going there is getting an upgrade, basically. She's doing wonders, that kid.
She's what you've got, what they actually pay for, etc. They seem to win with everything they buy or own.
She is doing wonders. No question.
100 quid from Harriet to John in the post.
Of course.
Yes. Quite right.
Yeah, good old Harriet. Road winner for me at Chester. Obviously had that terrible accident. I wish her well anyway, because she's a lovely person as well. Okay, we move on. One more topic before funnies. I forgot to touch on this earlier, but the new rule brought in this week by the BHA. Non-runners. Right, this is going to be carnage, isn't it?
Yes.
You've seen the idiots that do the stewards' inquiries. And Jeff Banks even tweeted this week. He says, the BHA learned I sued their arse last time and they ended up with 6 figures in legal fees and had to pay because of the late withdrawal of that one that was deemed a non-runner at Ascot. I think it was that time. Dillied and dallied and Jeff said he paid out and so he took the BHA to court and won. And I think you're going to see more of that because the incompetence, absolute level of incompetence of these people that make these decisions cannot be underestimated. And we've seen that on Saturday at Sandown, John, with the one of John O'Shea's in that big novice handicap hurdle final.
Well, if that's a runner, what's the fucking road change all about, seriously? Because, I mean, that just didn't run.
Wasn't that a case, though, the BHA and the stable staff, I forget who the steward was on the day, they defend their own. They defend their employees over the actual event. Defend them to the hilt. And that's half the problem. The starter should have been carpeted for that. It was terrible. He should have noticed. There was no reason to let them go. There was no absolute... Let's say, okay, he was unsighted. The starter was unsighted. He couldn't see that particular horse.
Yeah.
Then it's common sense. Even if the rules don't say that, it's common sense to go against the rules and just say, look, that's a non-runner.
In view of this rule, though, I mean, how is that a runner, really?
I don't know. And this is the problem, right? So they brought this in, and you're going to get some absolute idiots that can't even get stewards' inquiries right, taking 10, 15 minutes to probably determine whether this is a runner or not. It's not going to be like 30 seconds, is it?
No. And just wait till you get some dodgy bastards coming out the stalls and that. And
Yeah.
the 9 to 2, they're not bloody 12 to 1 or whatever, you know. And
how far do you take it? What about one that misses break 15 lengths and then decides to come out? Is that a runner or not?
There was nothing wrong with what we had. You come under orders, you're in.
Precisely.
Anything goes wrong, that's your own fucking doing.
It's if BHA want to punish you, like, because that Epsom Dash that happened a year ago, when it was clearly that it should have been either a void race or they should have had non-runners, the stalls didn't open. They should be classed as...
It's just another means to hit winning punters. And I'm sorry to keep harking on about this, but it's symptomatic of gross profit tax. And they haven't got a leg to stand on when I come on here and say it's because of gross profit tax.
It's why they're reluctant, I think, still even to chuck them out, like in student inquiries.
Everything they bring in, Lee, is because of gross profit tax. And they can't argue because it's in their interest to stuff winning punters and maximise the losing ones.
3 questions, finish the show. Davis has been on. Right. Racing tipsters are normally useless at DIY. What level of that are you 3?
Well, I'd pay someone to hang a poster, so that'll tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, if the producer left me, I would pay someone to come and change a fuse.
Yeah, you'll hang a poster, change a fuse, or switch the light on. That's
This hopefully is kind of coming true from Davis. John?
I glued a curtain rail up once.
Yeah. Good, no, he's like expert, isn't he? But I bet you got all the DeWalt gear as well at home. No, not you.
No.
Yeah, look the part.
No gear. No idea.
No. So, Davis, your point has been proved. We're shit. And if any other professional gamblers or tipsters are really good at DIY, I want to hear from you because I don't believe you.
Right.
I don't even have a screwdriver to tighten pan handles up. My pans are all death traps now. I'm not allowed anything hot in them, so that's a problem.
Yeah, use a butter knife to tighten the screws. Use a butter knife. That's what I would do.
Penultimate question, Stephen Thomas. What's the last piece of music the bar stewards would like to hear before they meet their maker?
Well, if I'm cremated, I want to have Smoke Gets in Your Eyes played as my coffin disappears behind the curtain.
Me, I would be Steppenwolf Magic Carpet Ride. I absolutely adore that song in times of strife.
You still think you're going to heaven, don't you?
It's the belief, I'm on this magic carpet flying towards the pearly gates. Yeah, not down south. Meet the old red one with a black fork. It's hot on the ends from the old furnace. John, what would be yours?
If buried, down, status quo. And if cremated, fire by the crazy world of Arthur Brown.
Oh, yeah, Arthur Brown.
Oh.
Yeah,
or I don't want to set the world on fire. That'd be another good one.
Yeah.
Cremated too, wouldn't it?
The producer says, though, I don't know if this is kind of weird, but so if I died, she's going to have me stuffed.
Yeah. She'll put you out on bin day. Pink sack or black bag day.
God.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Oh, good, John. I'm like
penny for the guy.
Yeah. Penny for the guy. Yes.
Wheel you around the
Remember this, Conchals?
Here's your chance to set the cunt on fire. Yeah, go on, missus. Here's a tenner. Yeah.
Final question is always Samuel the cat. Alcohol and little extras can be a nice, healthy activity in moderation.
There you go, Lee.
But what's the worst state you have ever been in after a wild night out? I.e., have you woken up in a really strange place or with someone you never met, thinking, who the hell are you? And how did I get here? Chris?
No, I can pass on this. I can honestly say I've never been that inebriated. I don't know where I am or who I'm with. So really boring. I'm not much of a drinker.
You're not a big drinker? Right.
No, not at all. No.
Right. My worst one was in Yarmouth.
You don't have to be drunk there to have horrible experience.
It's when it was better days. I was only 19. 4 of us decided to book a hotel. Same room, 3 beds in room, I think there was. Some of the kids slept on floor. I'd got a mate called Jason. He were obsessed with bringing food, as in he didn't want to starve. He was quite a big lad. He brought like loads of stuff, bread, bacon, you name it, were in there. And we're all taking piss out of him, saying, fucking, what do you need all that for? We went downstairs and I was drinking pints of wine, mixed in with snake bite back then. That was a done thing when it's snake bites. And I was absolutely out of it. In fact, we all were completely out of it. And we stumbled back up this B&B, back into the room. We just started going into his food. And most people say, well, what did you do? Eat it? No, we just started fucking lobbing it around the room. Like everything. Ham, chicken, everything flying all over the place. The room was getting a mess. And then I decided to drop my trousers, and then I started, like you do, started pissing all over the place. Right. This other kid saw me do it, so he thought, I'll do it and all. So he started pissing. One kid, who was the most sensible one, thought, well, we better fuck off here. This is it. B&B owner's going to go fucking bananas. So he says, I'm off, lads. I'm going. I'm not fucking standing here watching you cunts do this. We carried on for about 2 minutes. Then we all looked at each other as he'd left, and we thought, he's right. We better fuck off. We just got us things, ran down the stairs, and obviously it woke the B&B owner up. We heard him as we were just going out the door. Diane, look at the fucking mess in here. He didn't end there though, right? So we're running around Yarmouth shitting ourselves, thinking, he's going to call coppers and this will be, as youngsters. So we eventually made it back to the car, and we thought, we'll get in car and fuck off. Just let's go back home. We've messed this up. Only it wouldn't start.
Oh no!
We had to put the reg plate in as we signed in. He'd broken the car and then took a lead. The lead, I'm not sure what lead it is, but it took a lead out so you couldn't start the car. He stood smiling at the window, like waving this lead.
Yeah, fucking yeah.
In the morning, he frog marched my mate to the bank. He charged us 500 quid for the mess.
Well,
so there you go.
Lesson learned there.
That was a wild night. John,
lesson learned. Never use your real vehicle registration number when booking in it.
John, you must have something funny.
I went to a Burns night in our village.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had an incredible amount to drink. It was ridiculous. There was 2 bottles of whiskey on the table. There was only 2 of us drinking whiskey. I had Jack Daniels. I had, funny you should mention snake bites. We used to do these White Lightning and Carlsberg Special Brew with a dash of lime just to make it more palatable, believe it or not.
Yeah. It did taste shit, didn't it?
I was on them as well, and I think it'd be about 10 o'clock. I was absolutely out of my mind, and I'd have had another good 2 or 3 hours in there. Anyway, I left. That was about the end of my recollection of the night. And then I wakes up the next morning. I'm on a settee, and I didn't recognise any of the furniture. And it turned out I'd gone to the wrong house. Tried to get my key in the door. That hadn't worked. And the elderly couple that were like 2 doors below me, they heard this banging on the door. They thought somebody was kicking the door in. They'd gone to the door, recognised me. I threw my bunch of keys across their front room saying, they're no fucking good. I'll get that lock fixed in the morning. Then I face planted in their hallway, bust my nose open, crawled into the living room, vomited, and I managed to get up onto the settee where they thought it was wisest to leave me until morning. And that was where I woke up. I had to get the carpet cleaned for them.
You woke up and said, morning, Vicar.
Well, I had to bung them a few quid as well because I was that embarrassed about it all. I was in an absolutely disgusting state. I had no idea I was even at the wrong house.
Unbelievable. This is the power of drink, like when you were younger. Like now, I'm I'm a machine. It's ridiculous what I can take now, but back in the day, when you started drinking when you were young, you couldn't have 2 pints without feeling...
It literally doesn't work on you now, does it? It's like, it's like trying to tackle Superman, but the kryptonite's just green jelly.
Yep. It is. It's bad. I won't live long and prosper. Let's put it that way.
No.
There we go. Right. Hope you enjoyed this show. We had some fun doing it. And of course, don't forget to tune in on Thursday. Patreon members, you're not Patreon, then make sure it's Friday morning for our Guineas show. There'll be no Friday night show because we've done the full Guineas outlining on the Thursday. So we're back as normal next Sunday. And I can tell you we've got a special guest next Sunday, but I'm not revealing it. You'll find
it's the plantation owner from the Ascot Advert.
Yeah. Yeah. Rhett Butler, isn't it?
That's when I knew, Andy.
Yeah, yes, quite.
Right, that'll do from us. Bye for now.